Now, we all knew this was coming. There are some good sides and some bad sides. So, based on the research that's been done and what I've looked at, these are my thoughts behind what's happened with my Forex fund. So the nasty things that has been discovered with this my Forex funds investigation poses us a lot of questions. Can we trust all prop firms now? Is this going to affect all prop firms? Are we going to lose prop firms? Alright everyone, so I think it's about time I address this whole situation with my Forex funds. So, as I'm sure you guys know, my Forex funds has completely been frozen from any operations. They're under investigation by the CFTC and the US regulatory bodies, investigating their conduct and their practices with running their operation. Now, we all knew this was coming, and so regulations were always going to be inevitable. We didn't know how soon it was going to happen. We didn't know if it was going to be a good thing or a bad thing. There are some good sides and some bad sides. But more things were uncovered. Okay, with these investigations, more things were uncovered and a lot has been alleged, right? So again, in this video, I'm going to be talking about a lot of things, but it's all just my opinion and my thoughts behind this. Okay, none of this is my full-on allegations or anything like that. It's just my opinions. Okay, so based on the research that's been done and what I've looked at, these are my thoughts behind what's happened with my Forex fund. So again, some nasty things has been discovered through this investigation, and it's all detailed in a CFTC report, okay, which I'll link down below, as well as a video going more in depth into the report with my friend Raphael Kimmel. He's done a video on it, so I'll link that down below. He goes into detail on the document and what they talk about. I'll just go through it briefly. So the nasty things that has been discovered with this my Forex funds investigation poses us a lot of questions. Can we trust all prop firms now? Okay, is this going to affect all prop firms? Are we going to lose prop firms? What are we going to do without prop firms? Okay, is what my Forex funds did something that all prop firms could do, right? And the first thing we need to start with is how these prop firms, or what they actually are funding companies. Okay, they're not actually prop firms. They call themselves prop firms, but they're actually funding companies. Now, prop firm generally is like an institutional trading company that gets together and trades large funds, and they split the risk amongst each other in like more of a traditional trading floor type environment. Okay, and this is not what these are. You're not actually working for a prop firm and trading their capital. Okay, and you might be saying like, hang on, like, what are you talking about? But you're not. These are funding companies. And I've spoken about this in other videos as well. But majority of these companies do not give you live funds. Okay. Once again, this is just my research that I've done and also my experience working in this industry. It's all just my opinions. All right. So most of these companies do not give you live accounts. You'll see that you're trading on demo accounts always. Okay. It's not a live account. It's a demo account with live conditions. Okay. So how this works is majority of them, you're just trading this demo account and you are hoping to make some profit. They then pay you out. But where does the money come from if it's a demo account? Okay. And I hate to break it to you, but most of these companies use the fees that you pay to pay the winning traders. Okay. They use the fees of the losing traders to pay the winning traders. Now you might say, okay, this is like a little bit predatory. And it's kind of like a Ponzi scheme, but is it really? Okay, if you think about it, the whole of trading is essentially losers paying winners. Okay, when you make a trade in the real liquid market, you are betting against someone else. You are buying something from someone else at a cheaper price, hoping to sell it at a higher price. Now that person's losing out because they're selling at a good price. Okay. So essentially, it's the same thing with these funding companies. The ones that are unprofitable are paying for the ones that are profitable, right? And it's not a multi-leveled system. And so that's what leads me to believe that it's not, not your Ponzi type vibe. okay? And everybody that gets paid out, okay, makes payment. So they get to the point of getting paid out, they will get paid out because they run these models making sure that everybody that loses is enough to pay the winners, okay? Now, again, the biggest problem with my Forex funds is they did not disclose this, okay? In fact, they said the opposite, and that's what the CFTC pointed out in these documents. My Forex funds made it very clear that when you sign up, you are going to be trading for them and making them money. So when you win, they win. And that's not true. When you win, they lose. They have to pay you, okay? Otherwise, they could have just kept that money, okay? So that's the biggest problem, and that's where this whole thing of fraud comes in, because they say one thing and they've done another thing. Now, there is some wiggle room in that, because again, not all money that they make is just from the fees that you pay to do your evaluation. So some of the high tier traders that have been consistent for quite a while do actually get their account replicated to their own private liquidity. So my Forex funds will have a private liquidity pool that they replicate those top traders to. So essentially A-booking them. And A-booking them just means that my Forex funds take the same trades as those traders. Whereas if you are B-booked, it means that essentially my Forex funds is kind of trading against you. They want you to lose your account so that they can take your fee. All right. And that's just the nature of the industry, right? Now you might think, okay, so this whole thing is against me. So how can I win? And this is where this next bit comes in as well. This whole business model leaves the back door open to so much potential fraud and manipulation, okay? And that's exactly what CFTC has said in their documents, and they basically uncovered it. So the CFTC found messages between employees at my Forex funds talking about them using software to create harder trading conditions for traders that are more profitable so that they lose their accounts and so that they don't have to pay them out. Now, this is very problematic, okay? Manipulating those accounts means that they are not playing by the rules, okay? That's just straight up cheating. That's fraud, okay? And so this now raises a question of how are other prop firms not doing this, okay? And we can dive a bit deeper into that a bit later. And will other prop firms do this to me, okay? And this is where, you know, regulations start to become a good thing, because regulations mean that there's a company checking in on these things and making sure that these companies aren't doing that. Whereas right now, it's up to us not to work with companies that are doing these kinds of practices, okay? So essentially, and a lot of people reported on this before this happened, okay? So much slippage on trades, okay? The spreads going super wide at certain points, taking traders out of trades, slippage going like crazy, your stop loss getting completely ignored due to spreads widening, those kinds of things, okay? They had actual software that was making this happen to more profitable traders, and that's very problematic, okay? And that's why there's all of these allegations and fraud against these companies, okay? And it's a real problem, and it makes the whole industry look bad. I'm not going to lie to you, it really does. Because how can we trust anybody else if one of the biggest prop firms in the game did this? Okay, so those are the big issues that we're dealing with. Now, how do we go forward from this? Okay, we know my Forex funds was doing some scaly things. Okay, but also bear in mind that there were a lot of traders that were profitable in spite of this. Okay, and a lot of traders have come forward and said, reputable traders have come forward and said, hey, like, it's a bit of a bummer actually that they left, because I had so much funding from them and I had withdrawn, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars from them. And there's a lot of people, I mean, Paladin, Jade Cap, Kimmel Trading, all of these big guys in the game, they were like, hey, we lost our accounts, like, we would have rather kept them. And in spite of the manipulation, they still made money, okay? But that doesn't make what my Forex funds did right, just because some people were able to make money, okay? I personally have had withdrawals from my Forex funds in the past. Granted, that was about a year ago. I stopped trading with them because there's just other offers from other firms that are better. And I found that, hey, their servers are actually better as well. Okay. So the other thing as well, and the reason they were able to do this kind of manipulation on their broker is because it's their broker. So this is the other problem that my Forex funds had. They owned their own broker. Okay. My Forex funds owned the broker that they used for their firm. Now, the problem with this is it opens up the door to this manipulation. And the broker that they owned was not regulated. Okay. And this is where the door was open to a lot of manipulation. And this is one of the big things in this documentation. Again, I'll link it down below so you can go through it for yourself, make up your own mind about this. These are just my opinions. Now, the regulations stop these companies from this kind of manipulation. Okay, there's nobody keeping my Forex funds in check because that person is my Forex funds. They're the people executing the trades. They're the middleman of themselves. Okay, and that's problematic. And the middleman isn't regulated, it's not registered. And so that's a big thing that the Canadian regulatory bodies said and the US regulatory bodies said. They're not regulated, so how can you be doing this? And they were trading gold, okay, and you're not allowed to trade gold, and they were using higher leverage than you're allowed to use in the US. Again, that's against regulations, okay? So that was a big deal. But the biggest part about that, again, is that they own it, and that means that they can manipulate. Okay, so my whole take on this and what we're going to do going forward as traders. Now, luckily, I didn't have accounts with my Forex funds at the time. I've had multiple accounts in the past. In fact, my Forex funds accounts that I've had in the past, I had 100K with them that I had for about a year and a half. It was the longest account I've ever had. And they were basically my favorite prop firm, just purely based down to their fees. Okay, and they had a good reputation at the time. Now, obviously, new things have come to light. But if I had known that, for example, they had their own broker that they were manipulating that wasn't regulated, that's a big red flag, okay? And that's something that we should have all taken note of. And so, again, with them being registered in the US and all those things, these regulatory bodies came after them and they uncovered all this stuff. So what does this mean now for us going forward in the prop firm industry or funding company industry? It means one thing. We need to be more cautious and we need to diversify. Do not just have one prop firm, okay? It's cool to have one that you favor, whatever, have more accounts with. Cool. And you all know that I have my favorites when it comes to funding companies. I won't say anything more about that. But make sure that you diversify. Have different accounts with different companies. So if something like this happens, you're still good. Okay. Now, a lot of companies are registered overseas, and a lot of these companies have come out and said, hey, we're registered in the UK, we're registered in Europe, we're registered in Dubai. And everybody gave backlash on this and said, but that doesn't fix the problem. Just because you outside the regulations, that doesn't mean that we can trust you. That just means that there's no police to catch you if you do something wrong. So again, it's up to us to do the research and make sure that these companies are doing things by the book, okay? Now, one, again, red flag is a company that has their own broker that is unregulated on their firm, okay? That's a big no-no. So a lot of these firms use 8cap, okay? Blue Guardian, the Funded Trader, there's so many, countless, Funded Trading Plus. We've got, I don't know, there's more than I can even mention. They use 8cap as a broker, and that's great because 8cap is regulated, okay? I think it's based in Australia as well, but it's a third-party company that can keep funding companies in check. Like, hey, are you asking us to manipulate traders? No, we can't because we're regulated, okay? And that being said, different companies have different deals with 8cap, if I'm not mistaken. So some of them have better conditions than others. But for them to manipulate, it's not so easy because the broker is regulated and the broker is going to be like, well, if we manipulate, we've got regulatory bodies looking at us closely because we're regulated and we have to uphold those regulations. Okay, this is at least my opinion. Okay, so that's a good place to start. Again, we don't know what the future holds for the prop firm industry. We don't know how long regulations are going to be till they kick in, okay? But my opinion is that most of these other firms aren't going to be regulated for quite some time to come. We just have to look at the broker industry, okay, the Forex broker industry. A lot of them just moved out of the US when regulations set in, and a lot of them are just working overseas, okay? Just purely because they couldn't deal with the different fees and the different paperwork that have to be done to be regulated. And also, if they became regulated, they wouldn't be able to have the leverage they have. They wouldn't be able to have the trading conditions that they have, okay? And so it would be the same for if, for example, if a company wanted to become a funding company in America, you probably wouldn't be able to have that much leverage. You probably wouldn't be able to trade that same way. You probably wouldn't be able to, for example, like take an account and trade it separately and then jump to another account and have multiple funded accounts like we do now. It will bring everything down, and the costs will come up as well because regulations cost the company more. Okay, so there are downsides to this, but the regulations keep you safe. Okay, so that's the other side of this. Now, in terms of the other companies, all we can do is do our due diligence. Okay, look at the reviews, talk to other people that use it, talk to other people that have made payouts. Like myself, I've made payouts from multiple different companies, but don't even listen to me because I could be talking BS. Right? I'm not, but I've shown different certificates of me withdrawing. I've shown proof of withdrawal. I've shown all of those things. But people like me could be talking BS, okay? Influencers, whoever you want to call it. They could be talking BS because they've got other interests, okay? Listen to people that do not have other interests, okay? Go to friends or people you know that have withdrawn, ask them about the trading conditions, ask them, hey, have you had some random slippage at random times? Did it feel like they were trying to rip you off? Those kinds of things. That's all we can do for now, okay? And again, make sure that they're working with a regulated broker that preferably is not owned by themselves, okay, and is unregulated. That's a biggie for me. And that's all I think we can do from now and just see it going forward. And the other thing is obviously diversifying your accounts, okay? When you diversify your accounts, you make sure that if something like this happens in the future, you're safe, okay? You've got other alternatives, right? And that's not to say that not all of them will be regulated at once or be frozen at once. Who knows what could happen? I'm just speculating. But this is essentially my plan going forward, is just making sure I'm diversified and that I'm working with companies that have regulated brokers where this is not a problem, okay? And that's just all you need to do, in my opinion. And that's what I'm going to do going forward. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this whole debacle down below. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what your guys' plans are going forward. A lot of people are looking to get, private funding and build up a reputation and build up a record of their trading, which is a good idea as well to get private investors. Okay, it's also another alternative. But I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. And, a lot of people are just like F prop firms, but they obviously haven't done their research. Prop firms, as they are, and these funding companies, they are hugely beneficial for us, regardless. And yes, you do have to lose before you win. And you rely on those people that give up to pay you. But that's just how the industry works. That's how we make money. We're not holding a gun to your head saying, hey, trade with this prop firm. But the problem with my Forex funds is that they manipulated and they lied, okay? And that's the biggest problem. So again, work with a firm that's honest with you and work with a firm that is playing by the rules and using a regulated broker. That's just my 2 cents. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Cheers, everybody.